Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. Kaitlyn Bristowe responds to Nick Viall beef. I'm going to cover what she said, what he said, and the story keeps going on. Follow me on Instagram at DNeal. It's going to be going live on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. Hey, did you know this? The Patreon gets to see my full wedding album and my reaction to the wedding video that we just watched. Some people said they cried. I certainly did. It was very magical for me. If you guys want to be a part of that journey, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content and Bachelor Rush Hour, the afternoon podcast, every single day. So we just made this video how Chris Harrison ghosted Kaitlyn. We shared that. It's interesting. Kaitlyn Bristowe on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. Well, here's what she had to say about Nick Viall. Of course, he was on her season. They hooked up before the fantasy suites, and the whole world went wild. And, of course, they've had a love-hate, almost weird to say brother-sister-like energy since then. But have a listen.
If Britt was picked, yeah.
Did you have like an agent, like already you were like set up, had people?
I had an entertainment lawyer that helped me.
So first, Kaitlyn's just still discussing the lawyer that helped her negotiate her contract as host, but we're going to get into the Nick Viall stuff in a second.
Okay, and then as we all know, you got picked.
Yeah.
And your season was crazy. So the controversy, I wonder, okay, this is another.
I'm sorry, I had that wrong. That was Kaitlyn Bristowe discussing the contract for her to be the next Bachelorette. She had an entertainment lawyer. She was like, I'm not going to do it. And then they paid her enough money and she was like, all right, I'll do it.
Question. Okay. The craziness from your season was really the sex with Nick.
Yeah.
Viall.
Yeah.
Who we know today.
Yeah.
By the way, he just got engaged.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. Did you text him congratulations?
I didn't, because he does a whole thing about like not texting your ex. And I was like, is this me crossing a line? Or like his whole shtick is like,
Right,
don't text your ex.
That's the name of his book.
Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to, but then I was like, or is that weird?
Yeah.
But I am genuinely happy for them because they seem legitimately meant for each other.
Yeah.
And sweet, and like I believe in their love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Did you know that she's 23?
I did, because
People were shocked that she's 23, and people are also shocked to know that Nick is like 42.
Yeah.
Which like he should come out with some skincare.
Yeah,
or
drop your
something.
skincare, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because so what happened? He did a podcast not too long ago where he was kind of dragging me for stringing him along on The Bachelorette. And I was like, wait, that was 5 years ago.
Wait, this is after you did podcasts together though.
Oh, yeah. This was like actually quite recent, like a few months ago.
And I was like, of course, I've covered it already. Here's Bachelor Nick Viall slamming Kaitlyn Bristowe, not physically, metaphorically. Again, I don't think he does that bad of a job here. I think some of it might have been lost in translation. He's allowed to continue to tell his love story. Have a quick listen.
A lot of shit happened while filming, all that led up to me being like pretty confident the day of, right? And then she chose another guy, right? And now granted, like hindsight 2020, I'm really thankful that how things played out. But in the moment, I was really upset. I was really angry at her. I felt heartbroken.
Look at this like Tibetan monk shirt he's wearing with the sleeves.
Felt sad, and I was mourning the loss of all these things we shared, and that she was in this relationship, and I didn't even have the ability to like talk to her about anything. I just said to like go away, you know, and that was hard. But that being said, I just remember feeling like it was that much easier for me to get over, because quite honestly, I was just like, who does that?
And of course, he found out the Bachelorette does. And so not egregious there, but that's what Nick said.
And he was like kind of calling me selfish and saying I strung him along.
Said your name or was like talking?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
But he also said that's how I felt at the time. You know, he was just saying that's how I felt at the time. What's that? Dave Neal defending Nick Viall? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very reasonable response that he had. And I'm sure if they had that conversation in person, they'd agree with it.
I was like, oh, that's too bad. That's weird. I didn't expect him to kind of go off on me like that. I thought we were friends, but
Did
okay.
people send it to you? How do you know?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Like, oh, it's people send it to you.
Yes. And then I can't, what's the name of the account? Like Game of Roses podcast.
Yeah.
Tagged me in something. And they're like, Kaitlyn, he went off on this for like a solid 20 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of mean. And so then somebody else posted and they're like, Nick, you did the same thing on your season. You knew it was Vanessa from day one.
Wait, he was dragging you as a bachelor. I mean, he better than anyone knows it's a TV show and like the shit that you have to do.
That's why it was very confusing. And they were like,
he's still butthurt.
And they were like, by the way, your girlfriend was 15 while she was watching this happen.
Whoa. Okay. Ref Dave, hold on. Where's my ref at? I need my whistle. Okay, I got my whistle here. Hold on. Oh, time out. Okay, so Kaitlyn, and I love Kaitlyn. She knows how to create a little mess here. She knows what she's doing. I like this. and again, head to head, if I was a venture capitalist and they said, Dave, you could invest in the careers of one person, Kaitlyn Bristowe or Nick. No offense to Nick. He's bought a nice home in LA. He's doing fantastic. I would invest in Kaitlyn because she's able to just say things that just print headlines, and she's a good businesswoman. But they both do belong on the Mount Rushmore of Bachelor alumni, 100%. They are neck and neck, but I take Kaitlyn in the race. So she says, she just throws in there, oh yeah, someone told me, and then so she kind of like removes herself from it. Someone told me when my season was airing with Nick, his now fiance was only 15. How funny is that she mentions that? I haven't commented on this because to me it's like, look, if it took him longer to get to the same emotional place that his fiance is, then I'm all for it. I don't see it as predatory or whatever. Maybe he just like when people get famous, I can imagine they take a little bit longer time to develop and to settle down. Maybe his F-boy stage went longer, or relationships, maybe being the Bachelor actually made it harder for him to get to the point of marriage because he had to experience all these other relationships on TV and settle from the dust there. So no judgment whatsoever.
Tagging you as a bachelor. I mean, he better than anyone knows it's a TV show and like the shit that you have to do.
That's why it was very confusing. And they were like,
he's still butthurt.
And they were like, by the way, your girlfriend was 15 while she was watching this happen. And I was like, wait, what? And then I looked up the age and I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Men's egos, let me tell you, are so big.
So big.
That they can't live life. Like he literally, probably even though he was cool with you, you guys like kind of made up.
Yeah.
It's still there for him.
It's still there.
And I disagree with their summation of what Nick was saying here. I got to defend the man here. I feel like, what if I just talk like that? When did you become Southern? I feel like Nick just, look, he was just telling you how he felt in the time. I don't think he feels that way anymore. He's got a podcast. He's got to talk about these things. You guys know what it's like to feed the beast.
You rejected him.
Sean Booth.
Also ego.
I'll never forget. I said, Sean, if you just put your ego aside, we could probably work. And he was like, what ego? You've crushed my ego. And I was like...
And it's got to be hard, though, to put your ego aside because he lives in a world... We have to understand this. And again, this might be hard for people to hear. He lives in the same patriarchal society that she lives in. He lives in the same society where people are slut-shaming her, and he has to deal with those types of things as well. Not nearly as bad as what Kaitlyn had to deal with. But with Sean Booth, he can't just... He like... And again, it's something he's going to have to work on because you can't change the world you live in. You can change how you react to it. But he's kind of living in this world where he feels crushed that everyone got to see him kind of get cuckolded in a way, maybe not totally. But that's what the show really is. It's like, I'm falling in love with someone who's about to have sex with somebody else. And he wasn't able to, and I've never been in that position, and I don't think you guys have ever been in that position. But he... in the American sort of purity world we live in with how we deal with sex, wasn't able to overcome it the way Kaitlyn Bristowe overcame it because maybe Kaitlyn Bristowe grew up in a world where sex wasn't put on some weird pedestal to the way it is here in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Sean, I remember you going through that with Sean and also thinking just the ego was so big. You couldn't get over the Nick thing, I remember.
No, never. I still don't think he is. He was on Jason's flight today to New York.
No.
Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah.
Did they say hello?
No.
Did they see each other?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
That's what I said.
Kaitlyn Bristowe's ex-fiance, Sean Booth, was on the same flight as Kaitlyn's current fiance. I would be like, I'm going to go sit. They're like, you have a first-class seat. I'm going to go sit in the back toilet. Well, the toilet's clogged. It smells like shit. I'd rather go smell like shit than sit next to my fiance's ex-fiance.
I went 4 years without running into him anywhere.
And he lives in Nashville.
I've seen him 3 times in the last 3 months.
Do you say hi?
No, I would love to though. But no, it hasn't been like we're like right there and could say hi. It was more like he was in a distance.
And you think he hates you?
No, I think he did for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think now he probably is, I hope, over it.
Juicy.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to just be able to say, like, if
Did you ever say who ended it?
Yeah.
So they talk about it was kind of a joint ending and this and that, and she talks about how she kind of, when she was ending with Sean Booth is when, she had already broken up with Sean Booth, and that's when she interviewed Jason Tartick on her podcast. He got jealous. She was single. She had great chemistry with Jason Tartick, and it's all history. So one more clip here from the 37-minute mark here. We're going to talk about the backlash from Kaitlyn's season with Nick, and she talks about, they actually talk about Nick, that she dated him in the pre-glow up stage, which I don't think is too fair. Like some people get better looking. They learn what haircut works for them. Maybe they get a little filler or something, but here, have a listen.
Really secure.
Yeah. I know, it's nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just for a second about the backlash you got about the sex stuff.
Yeah.
How weird.
Bizarre.
Like, okay, I'm asking the same question, but
How
do you
bizarre.
think that
How
today, like
How
fucking
bizarre.
January
How
2023?
No.
No, right?
No. You're right about that.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. I got it today.
I'll give you
I got
that.
it today.
I'll give you that.
Because people were like, what was the thing? We're like, everybody now has sex on the show.
I remember Hannah Brown having sex in a windmill 4 times, and people were like raising the
Praising
roof
it, right.
for her. And I was,
Yeah, Kaitlyn Bristowe, literally, I'm getting a call from Libya. Oh my gosh, look at this. Should I answer this phone call? I just got a phone call from Libya. What the hell is Libya calling me? All right, either Gaddafi, what are you doing? All right, anyway, so I'm sorry about that. That was weird. Let's just keep going here.
like, I love that because part of the reason
You're like,
I was
paved the way.
Yeah, they were like, Kaitlyn walked so Hannah could run.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
Because
Kaitlyn walked so Hannah could bang.
part of the reason I did want to talk about it is I was like, why are we shaming people for this? Or like, we make fun of virgins and then we shame people who
You know
have
what's
sex.
funny though, Caitlyn?
So anyway, but Kaitlyn, you have to understand, she had sex with Nick Viall on her season of The Bachelorette, got shamed for it because it wasn't in the fantasy suite. Chris Harrison didn't give them that giant key. Well, if you choose to forego, shut it. But what we remember is like Kaitlyn and Nick Viall had already been FaceTiming and chatting before the show started. Now they have these numbers, statistics that the average person, I don't know if this is true or not, but they say the average person needs to know someone else for 6 hours before they hook up, before they have sex. And if you think about that, that's like 2 or 3 dates, and then you're willing to have sex. Maybe you met them in that same night, but you got to know them over the 6-hour period. It's only our egos that go, oh, you had sex with someone the first night. It's like, did you feel a connection? Did you really know them? Did you feel like you trusted them? That's more important to me. So whether or not you waited for the fantasy suite, it's just rubbish.
The person you did it with was Nick.
I mean, it's
like it's like a good story. Do you get what I mean? Where I'm going with this, it's like it's such a good story to tell your grandkids.
I can't wait to tell my grandkids and show them on
like,
YouTube.
When I was your age, I hooked up in a hotel room provided by America's Broadcast Channel. We used to stream. The TV used to be played live at 8 p.m. Pacific.
Remember forever, but it's not. But it could have been. I feel like
Grandma, tell us again how you had.
a different dude for the story to be better.
Well, the whole
There was a man named Chris Harrison, and you see, he handed me a giant brass key, and he said, "Should you forgo your?"
whole thing was, I mean, even the producers really sexualized Nick to me. Like
what?
they were like
he's so.
There's one producer. I've never even said this. You get the exclusive. One producer actually said to me, after I would kiss him, she'd come and like wipe my
vagina,
my
to see if you're
lips,
wet.
and she would swipe my lips and like lick her lips and be like, "Oh, I just want to know what that tastes like to like make out with Nick." They really like put him on a pedestal to me,
and he was less hot then. That was pre-glow up.
And
that was pre-glow up.
And Sean was so good looking. I was always like,
Sean could get it.
Totally.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, well, it's Sean. And then, but that was part of their tactic and way
She
to
licked. That is raunchy.
I know.
Okay, very raunchy. So Kaitlyn Bristowe says a producer licked or wiped Kaitlyn's lips and said, "I want to know what it tastes like to make out with Nick." I don't. Brian, I don't know what would it taste like to make out with Nick. Burgundy. If you made out with me, it would taste like this cherry chapstick. That's what I I like a good cherry chapstick. But who am I? No one's asking. No one's saying, what is it like to... Okay, anyway, you get the point. Very interesting conversation that Kaitlyn Bristowe had on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. If you want to check out more of my content, follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I've got my stand-up show dates over there. You can also go to the Dave Neal community on Facebook to see some more about where I'll be performing. I've got a second show in San Diego and Pacific Beach. We've got shows coming up in Santa Barbara and all over before I go on my honeymoon. So it's going to be a busy February for me. All right, in the meantime, if you want to throw some bread in the old tip jar, go over to Patreon and you can donate and be a private member, patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll talk to you later. Bye.